This show has been brought to you by Smith's Detection and the National Air Traffic Controllers Association.
My voice is the voice that guides you home safely each and every day.
24 hours a day, 365 days a year.
I am the voice of the safest and most efficient airspace in the world.
I have to be 100% of the time.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am a professional air traffic controller.
Hi, I'm Todd Hauptli, and I'm joined in the studio today by Steve Johnson, the CEO of HMSHost. Steve, thanks for joining us.
You bet.
First,
Glad to be here.
A little bit about your background.
Let's see. I came out of college in '87, started in the oil business. Oil business failed miserably, as if you were around in '87, you remembered that. And actually entered into this business in '94. I was with Westfield, running a couple of their local malls, and National and Dulles came out to bid, and they said, I had the owner of the company come to me and say, hey, bid on these two airports. We want to do this in Australia. Like, I have no idea about airports. And there was no one more surprised than me that we won. But I was the first Westfield employee way back when, in 1994, I think, and then joined Host in 2000, came over and was a vice president of business development, and have been with them ever since.
Excellent. Now, Host is pervasive here in the United States and around the world. How many locations here in the U.S.?
So we're going to be 101 airports next year when we open up in New Orleans, in North America. And then we're about 2,000, I think 2,100 restaurants overall, about 36,000 employees. We do airports, motorways. If you drive up and down the East Coast, then you stop in our locations. But we're about everywhere in reality. So not everywhere. There's a few places we want to be. So if there's anyone out there listening, we want to come to your airport. So
how about some of the brands that people would be familiar with?
Well, Starbucks, of course, probably our longest partnership. We began with them 26 years ago. They were a small company, and we loved the product. In fact, one of the development tools was we would go into a city prior to Starbucks being in that city, so the airport, they would understand Starbucks in the airport, and then Starbucks would come behind us and actually open up in the city. So a long and very good partnership with those guys. Many of the other brands you've heard of, Shake Shack's one of our newest ones, Pret a Manger is one of our newest ones. Most of the Burger Kings across the country are ours, either ours or an ACDBE of ours. But we have 306 brands.
Wow.
So you name it, it's probably ours out there.
Now, HMSHost is a very innovative company, and there's a lot going on in the space. Talk a little bit about what innovation means to you.
Well, innovation's a lot of different things for us. It's everything from packaging, which is an interesting place to be right now with all the sustainable packaging, the things we're doing. But it also means digital, and we're really living in, and moving into the digital world. And if you think about a traveler's journey, and from this studio, for instance, I could sit here and I could book my hotel, I could call an Uber, I could book my airplane flight, I could book my Uber on the other side, I could check into my hotel, I could check in through security, check on the plane. So the entire journey is really handled through a mobile-enabled device, except for the food. So we're the gap that actually exists in the traveler's journey. So our focus is really trying to fill that gap, and it's through a lot of different ways. One is mobile-enabled, so that when for instance, when you walk into an airport, let's say you have gluten allergies, and you want to find a place to eat. You should be able to go on the Host to Coast app, find a restaurant that has gluten-free, under a certain amount of calories, and it'll tell you the 3 or 4 places in that airport you could eat. Right? So that's our ultimate goal, to get there. Today you can certainly look at the restaurant, you can order, and you can pay, but it doesn't have all the filters yet. We're going to be there. The future is going to be, it's going to be seamless from your mobile device. But we've got a lot of other things going on. So a lot of people don't use their mobile devices when they do that. We have kiosks. So we have 36 restaurants now with kiosk ordering systems. You can go up, order, pay, wait on your food, basically skip the line, right? So that's a piece of it. I think server pads. If you think of a traditional system when you're going into a restaurant, and you sit down and you order your meal from your server. They go back to the kitchen, they punch it all in, right? It comes from the kitchen, they run it out, you then wait for, I need to pay, right? So server pads allow our servers to stay on the floor. So they're at your table. When you order, they actually punch it in the pad, it goes right to the kitchen, a runner brings the food out. When you're ready to pay, they're standing right there with the server pad in their hands. So it really speeds up the process for the consumer, and it puts the consumer in charge, right? The biggest problem that we have when people are flying is they feel out of control, right? They go to security, they're patted down, they're put into to a queue there, they're put into a queue when they get on the plane, they're sat down, they're told what to do. We want the food and beverage experience to give them a little more control back, and I think that's a piece of allowing that quick serve, that fast turn to the table, so they have the time to go wait for their plane and board appropriately.
Because that's what they want, right? What does a traveler want when they come in to your restaurant?
That's a great question, because you have to define traveler. So you, for instance, or me. I know my world, right? So I'm a different traveler at different times. When I'm with my family, it's a different traveler, right? So I need to find a place for me and my 2 daughters and my wife to eat. It's a place that we can sit where it's quiet and talk and visit. But when I'm on business, it's about speed for me. What can I get fast and healthy, right? If I'm on a business meal or a layover, I've got an hour and a half or 2 hours, I want something of quality. I may go to Wicker Park in Chicago and eat sushi when I'm by myself. With my family, I may go to a food court. If I'm if you're a traveler who's a newlywed and you're very excited and you want to go celebrate, that's a different traveler experience. So our focus at Host is to try to provide all of those experiences for the different travelers as they come through, because they are different, right? So it's not just one size fits all. We've tried to design our restaurants, for instance, to be more female approachable. What we've found is men will go into most any bar and drink. Females by themselves will not. So we make them more open, more inviting. A lot of our research shows that females traveling alone want to see the concourse because they feel safe. They want to be able to see out. They don't like dark bars, dark restaurants. So we've really brightened them up. We've opened up our kitchens. People want to see the quality. They want to, we don't want to hide where the food's being made behind a wall. So all of our kitchens are now open. So you can see the chefs back there making the food. You trust it. You may not know the brand name because it could be a local and you could be out of town, but you see the quality because it's being made in front of you. So it's a big focus for us in changing really how consumers view airports. I used to tell the story when I first started in this business. I'd say, I'm in the airport concession business. People would be like, oh, that's not great. Sorry about that, right? Right? And today when I say I'm in the airport concession business, the first thing they tell me about is, oh, have you eaten at this restaurant? And usually it's one of ours, thankfully. But it really has changed how consumers feel about traveling through our airports today, that they can get quality food, great food, restaurant, brands that they recognize. Shake Shacks, we have a deal with them. They're in the airports now. So now, I can, if I've never been to New York City, I can go get a Shake Shack in Los Angeles. Phoenix is one of my favorite developments where I may never go to Phoenix, but when I fly through there, I'm eating the best food that the city of Phoenix has to offer because we put it in the airport.
Or Chicago. You've done some really fun stuff in Chicago.
Yeah, I talked a little bit about Wicker Park. I have so many stories about Wicker Park, but Wicker Park's one of those places. The old CEO of United Airlines used to tell me, he goes, listen, I've traveled all over the world. He goes, my favorite sushi in the world is Wicker Park. He goes, in fact, I show up early. I don't tell anyone I'm there. He showed me the seat that he sat in. He goes, I sit here and I eat my sushi, and then I tell him I'm in town. But then you also take a look at what we've done with Let Us Entertain You, and we have the Public in there, the Summer House. I mean, these are iconic restaurants in the city of Chicago that we've really brought into the airport, so people get that local feel. Rick Bayless's Tortoise Frontera. I mean, I walk by that place and it is jam-packed, whether it's breakfast, lunch, dinner. And
that's me.
Yeah, there you go.
Every time I go through, that's where I go.
Yeah, I mean, because the quality is great, and you're willing. That's the great thing about it. You're willing to wait the 4 or 5 minutes it takes because the quality's there. They're hand making your torta for you right back there. So, right. Yeah.
So you've spent a lot of time thinking about innovation and this passenger experience and the journey, what does the airport restaurant of the future look like? Have you guys figured that out?
You know, I think it depends on which one. I think that if it's quick service, we're trying to make it faster, and we're trying to increase the quality so that, you know, you'll be able to come up and order through a kiosk or order through your phone. I think if it's a sit-down restaurant, you know, I want a choice. So, you know, for us, the digital revolution is an enhancement to hospitality. It's not a replacement of hospitality. And so, for instance, if I'm coming into a restaurant, I may say I have a couple hours and I want service, meaning I want someone to come to my table, explain the menu to me, give me the specials, really tell me what's great there. And I get that human touch as I'm in the restaurant. Or I may be in a hurry and I may want to go to a place where I can order off of a tablet, right? So I don't really need the interaction. I want the high quality, I want the good food, but I don't really need to have that interaction. So we may have a choice for them as they come up. Would you like self-service or full service? Would you like to order off of your phone? Would you like to pay? You know, so that when I sit down, I immediately can control my experience. I'll give you a code, you punch it in your number, all of a sudden you're hooked into our system, and when I'm done, I can say I'm done, I can put my credit card in, or it's already attached, and I'm out, right? So that, because as you know, when you fly, airports aren't about the experience, it's about time. How much time do I have from the time I show up to the time that plane leaves? Because the plane's not going to wait for me. So how do I use my time? And that's the key for most of our customers as they come through. How do I use it? If I've got more time, I'll spend more time with you. If I have less time, I still want to eat and I want quality, but I only have 5 minutes. What are you going to do for me?
So you have to really have a variety of options for.
You do, because the traveler state is so different. You know, I go. You know, we have such a privilege to serve the people who come through the airports when, you know, they come to us in all different states. They come to us, you know, having lost a loved one, and this is a terrible flight home. Or they come, as I talked about before, newlyweds who are just so excited, or a soccer team who's just won a championship, and how, you know, they want to go to a food court. All choose different things, but somehow be contained and be there together. Or you could have a family, you know, their first trip to Disney, right? These people are so excited, you know, what are we going to do to enhance their experience? So our job is to really find all of those need states for them. And, you know, breakfast is different than lunch, than different from dinner. And so we need to have the variety of price points, the variety of options, all available within the same airport, so that even though I'm in a different need state with my family than I am in business, it's still all there for me.
Yeah. Got time for just one last question.
Okay.
I'm interested in technology and what kind of new over-the-horizon technology you might be piloting somewhere. You got anything good you can share with us?
You know, competitors are probably going to see this too. So
you better be careful.
So there's a few things out there. I think for us, it's taking the friction out of the process, right? There's so much today where I truly believe we're going to eventually not even have to check into our flights, right? They're going to know we're there. That, you know, between facial recognition, all of the things that are happening with that space, when we check into a hotel, you're not going to go to the front desk anymore. You're going to go right to your room and go and check in with your phone. That's the ultimate goal for us, is that the friction is completely gone, meaning I can walk in, I can choose where the food is, I can choose what I want, I can choose how I get it, whether I pick it up or it's delivered or any of those things. So it's taking the friction out of the process. And that's really what we're pushing over and over again with our team. It's not fast, as much as fast as I want it to be, but it's going to come. We're going to eventually have it where it's pretty seamless as you go through the airport, and you get the choice, and you get the quality, and you get the time.
Steve, thank you for being with us today.
You bet.
Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. It's been great. Thank you.